Future Phenoms, tracking football's rising stars. I'm Andy, and I'm joined by Nino Brown and SC Romero. We have a jam-packed episode after the intro. SC, Nino, what's going on, guys?
What's cooking?
It's good, man. You saw the balloons. It's our first live episode, so I had to add the balloons in there. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea what does that. Sometimes I hold the peace sign, hold up a heart, balloons pop up. But you know what it is, man? Two things you look forward to is Future Phenoms and what my wife's cooking for dinner. Tonight it's lasagna, so let's get it.
So we are live tonight, so I thought we'd kind of break down some relevant news. As you know, the episode doesn't have to be evergreen. So kind of the portal's kind of open. Yesterday we had running back Damien Martinez enter the portal from Oregon State, and then today Maryland tight end Corey Dyches. He was in the portal, was at Maryland, now at Charlotte. Guys, have any thoughts on any of these guys?
Well, with Martinez, I know I heard a lot about maybe he'll go follow, his quarterback. I'm not just from a guy D now, but other people. But like the money's not there. He's about the money. He made that very clear that he only got $100,000 out of what they were supposed to give him $400,000. No, they didn't buy him a house. He bought himself a house. No, they didn't buy him a car. He bought his own car. So it's like, trying to cut it and be gone. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that would look for a running back. Wisconsin could probably use a big, heavy-hitting running back like that. Miami with Fletcher and not knowing what's going on, I think they could use a running back. So it'll be interesting. Maybe Michigan, Andy, to piece with Donovan Edwards. Is there questions that he's going to be the guy? It's been a couple seasons where they've gone, two running backs. It'll be interesting to see where he goes, but wherever he goes, he's an instant impact player. That is 100% sure.
Yeah, man. My question is, what took you so long, bro? Like your flock went out, bro. You should have left. When Aiden Childs was out, you should be like, "Hey, I'm out." Yeah, but it comes to it. You mentioned a couple good teams there. Ole Miss, our team that could possibly use him. Just someone that he was a dominant running back, in Oregon State. Andy, you and I had conversations about him in the past too. He was a great running back. So. He's the hot name right now, I think, just in the portal right now, because running backs, you don't get a lot of them, right? It's very hard to get a stud running back, and he showed it at Oregon State. So now imagine if he goes to not knocking Oregon State, but imagine if he goes to like a legitimate contender. You know what I mean? Like a team in the SEC, go to a Big Ten team, even ACC if you want to, that can use him, So I'm excited to see where he goes. Big news to come, hopefully. And hopefully that's breaking here soon. We'll see.
Speaking of the SEC, he is from Texas, Texas Longhorns. They're going all in. That's been a team that's been brought up. One team that hasn't been brought up that kind of intrigues me is Georgia. Hear me out. Georgia's going all in this year, okay? Trevor Etienne got his own thing going on. Roderick Robinson not proven to be 100% healthy. Branson Robinson recovering from an injury. The rest of that backfield kind of improving. Georgia has money.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be something that's interesting. I got him going there.
I got a point to make with that, though. You think they can afford the extra bad culture? Didn't Martinez just have didn't he catch some kind of bad news in the offseason? He couldn't play in a bowl game, right?
I mean, it kind of fits with the program, right? So,
well, I'm just saying, one running back gets in trouble, you want to bring another one that's going to – I'm not saying
it's the culture.
I know, right? I mean, you're right, though. Paul, he's coming off injury, too. Everybody seems to have lingering ACL or some kind of knee injury over there. You are right that they went all in the wide receiver department. So it's like maybe that is a good land. I think Ole Miss, if Ole Miss gets him, they have to be the consensus one. With everything that they've done. They probably have the best wide receiver room in the country.
Texas was someone I was thinking of too, because like you mentioned, he's from Texas. But I feel like if he goes somewhere, does he want to be in a split backfield after coming out from being that? You know what I mean? So like in Texas, you have Cedric Baxter there. You know, you have Jadon Blue there. So I don't see that. Georgia, it makes sense too. But again, I feel like he wants to go somewhere. It's like I'm coming in to put in the work. Like I want to be the guy. You know what I mean? Like don't get me wrong. You can have someone in there to pull me out to give me a breather, but I want to be the guy. So Ole Miss out of the SEC makes a lot of sense to me, especially since they lost Quinshawn. And guess what? If you go in there and you do work, not saying he's gonna put on Quinshawn numbers, but if he does, his value's up. You know,
Yeah.
so
Ole Miss Diggs gonna be missing multiple weeks. They said at the start of the season. Ulysses gonna be missing multiple weeks to start the season. I love Reese Cano, but he hasn't proven anything yet. So if they're gonna try to get a proven vet, that's the guy to go get in this portal.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be a fun portal watch that's going to be coming up. Let's get right into our first segment, names to watch for the 2024 college football season. SC, you're up first.
Yeah, so I'm going down my freshman little kick here, you know, watching a bunch of their tapes and stuff. And I got to talk about Sammy Brown out of Clemson, linebacker that's just a stud, Max Preps National Athlete of the Year, quick, insightful, 4-year varsity starter, 350 tackles, and 5,000 rushing yards. Like, not he's going there as a linebacker. They said he's going to be a better linebacker there, right? But this kid, I think he just has all the traits to be an immediate impact player. You know, they're losing Trotter. So this is going to be a guy that's going to go in day one and be a stud for this team, a team that needs help on defense too. And I think we're going to be talking about him in his collegiate career all the way leading up till he gets drafted, Sammy Brown out of Clemson.
Sammy Brown is an absolute stud. I mean, not only is he like, you know, he said he ran the ball. He ran for 2,000 yards last season alone, 153 tackles. But outside, not even this kid's a 2-time state wrestling champion. Like this kid is a straight athlete. I am big on Jamal Anderson this year for Clemson. I'm all in. I'm bought in. I think he's going to be the linebacker. I think he's going to come out of nowhere, and you're going to see he's going to give you these wow moments like Perkins and Pierce out in Tennessee. I'm not saying that he's going to make people forget about Sammy Brown. But I don't know if this is Sammy Brown's season right now. But what I will say, everything I dove into, you got Barrett Carter saying this kid's a freak. Now, in the weight room, he is an absolute monster. And they said that his work ethic in the weight room is the same as it is on the field. The kid, it's absolutely nonstop. This is former Mr. Georgia. Mr. Georgia. Like, they don't just hand those awards out to the kid coming out of the local grocery store. You got to be the best of the best to get stuff like that. He's learning everything. He's learning how to set up fronts. They are saying that this kid is so far ahead of where he should be coming into it. I do think he'll get time and get some reps. And he'll probably get some time in the spring game. But I think Jamal Anderson's got it for this year. But Sammy Brown is an absolute freak that does deserve to get that time. And he will push him. I think iron sharpens iron. And that's what they're saying. Like, he's going to be a depth guy, but he's going to learn. He's going to be pushing these guys up front. That if you don't take off and take that next step, this young buck's going to come eat your lunch.
And I think, you know, if you follow me on X at the PPR, so I cover wrestling too. WrestleMania was just this past weekend. Sammy Brown's going to be what Roman Reigns was. He wants to be a professional football player, but he ended up being a wrestler. Like you mentioned, 2-time wrestler, state champion as well. He has that physicality, just knock down guys. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do in his collegiate career.
Nino, who's your first guy?
I'm going to go with a freshman running back, Kawan Lacey, committed to Mizzou. He was committed, I believe it was to Nebraska, decommitted, committed to Mizzou. Now, Mizzou's got some veterans in this running back room. They went to the portal. They got Marcus Carroll out of Georgia State. They went and got Nate Newell out of App State. But we're talking about a guy that, like, 1,500 yards his senior year, right? He had 21 combined touchdowns, 25 offense. Like, people wanted this kid. He's shifty, right? He's good, great contact balance. I'm talking about long speed. He gets away and starts moving. Good luck catching him. He's physical. I've watched this. Like, he's like a pinball. I don't understand it. Like, he's wrapped up, got a guy in his feet, got a guy in his waist. Somehow, some way was able to step out of it, create more space, get more yards. And once he's in front of you, see you later. Now, he's probably not going to get a lot of time right now, right? But he will get, I think he'll get some spell time. You know what they say, opportunity knocks. If he starts, to hit the ground with some of these carries, getting 4 or 5 carries and averaging 6, 7, 8 yards a clip, he might get a little more time. He is a dude that I think he has receiving skills as well. So that they lost, quite a bit of depth at the wide receiver. So he could be a guy that comes out of the backfield and does a little bit as well. So, I want to see what Lacey does, but I do believe that Lacey could be spotty here and there, and earn himself some targets going down the stretch.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know me so well. I love my Texas boys, right, from Lancaster, Texas. So this kid, you're watching this tape. The first few plays, I mean, he's lining up outside. He's not even lining up as a running back. So I
Right.
mean, you hit it right on the money. Like, yeah, they may have got some guys in the portal for the running back position, but guess what? He's a versatile athlete, and you even hit the contact balance. For my notes, I put he has a bulletproof chest because people are hitting him, and they're just where are they at? They just like bounce off of it, you know what I mean? And he goes and gets some good yardage there. Has a great yak monster as well. So it'd be surprising to see him not get any kind of opportunity this year because I think he's so versatile that he's going to get on the field just to do something. It might not be the running back position that we're wanting, but they're going to have him line up just because he can do that and can shift around, get some good routes, and he has hands. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
He's got to earn that trust. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lacey was a riser late in the recruiting process. SC, who's your next guy?
So, man, I've been a fan of Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a team I really enjoy watching. The next guy is Jeremiah Melvin, the next nightmare matchup for Wake Forest. Just a guy that's a two-sport athlete, plays basketball, 6'5", 185. We can't really tell on height right now, but he's a monster. He's going out there. He's catching at the high point. He's knows what to do in his body control, probably because he plays basketball, so he has that good hand-eye coordination, knows how to shift his body around. He's not going to necessarily get you the yardage as you want, right? He's not like someone that's going to go out there and get crazy things, but he's going to be just a phenom, no pun intended for our show, but just for his quarterback, right? And making sure he gets the ball. He's going to be a favorite target. And like H.E. Perry was for Wake Forest, I think this is a guy that I'm going to be excited to watch because he's going to be that red zone threat for Wake Forest.
I'm going to be excited to watch him. I don't know if he'll be the A.T. Perry guy. I think Donovan Green is supposed to be that A.T. Perry guy if he can stay healthy, and he's, the elderman of the wide receiver room. Tyler Norman, he's going to be the slot guy. He's going to be the guy working the field. Horatio Fields stinks. Sorry, sir. This kid could probably come in there, and there's a very good chance that he's going to go in there and take your position and eat up your reps. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, right? Junior and senior year. Senior year, I think he had 1,500 yards, double-digit touchdowns. The kid gets it. He understands how to find the red zone. He understands how to find space. And when he gets the ball in space, he knows how to go forward. He's not just one of those guys that just dance around. He knows how to make the most of his opportunity. Now they're bringing in a guy because, quite frankly, Mitch Griffith sucked last season, okay? You're bringing Hank Bachmeier. Now, I know it's his third team, but the Bachmeier family is a talented family. It's 3 or 4 of them are going to be playing in college football. Well, maybe 2 next year. One might make it to the next level. But there's a few gentlemen in the Bachmeier family that have pedigree here. This kid's got an arm. If he's fully healthy, there's a good chance you could see a connection early, and this kid could rise and maybe be a starter mid-season. But I do like the play. I think this is a kid that you got to watch out for.
I think a player to watch for Wake Forest is running back Damon Claiborne. He's someone I really like. Didn't get much of an opportunity behind a bad offensive line. He is a track athlete. I do kind of like him. So he's someone I'm looking forward to. And we have some Bachmeier later on in the news. Next guy, Nino. Who you got?
All right. You like Texas guys, right? Let's go out to North Texas. Give me a receiver by the name of Damon Ward. Okay, 5'11", 210 pounds. That is a big-bodied receiver, okay? Now, he played second fiddle to Macklin last year. Jay Macklin's gone, okay? And they also brought in a gunslinger at quarterback in Chandler Morris, so I am a fan of. I think this could be a connection made in heaven. He had 40 receptions, close to 500 yards last year, 5 touchdowns. Season before, 5 touchdowns. He scores touchdowns, okay? But he is a monster when it comes to contested catches. I'm talking almost close to 80% in his contested catches, right? He produces. He's a chain mover, 23 first downs in the limited amount of targets that he did have. And what I'm hearing in camp, he's clicking. He's getting these wild plays. He's going to be that guy at wide receiver 1 for North Texas. I cannot see anybody in that room really even pushing this guy for wide receiver 1. There's a good chance you get 70 to 80 receptions out of him this year and close to 1,000 yards.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, you know me too well. I love my Texas guys. But this kid, the body control is really turning me on to him. He knows where his body needs to be to make the best of the catch, whether he needs to be behind the ball, so it comes right into his chest, whether his hands need to be out in the corner to catch the ball. He is going out there and making the play happen based on his skill and his vision of just where his hands, his body, his feet, everything needs to be what makes him so special, because you don't see that a lot. A lot of guys just, they might just use their hands, but they're not necessarily doing anything to move their hips or anything. He has that, and that's what's going to make him excel at that next level, and that's what you have to love about him. So great pick there.
SC, who's your final guy?
Last guy, tight ends. Tight ends are always hard to come by. I think someone we might be talking about in future is Trey'Dez Green, as I mentioned, going through that freshman stock here. So LSU freshman, just a massive human being. This guy is physical. I wouldn't say he's necessarily gaining separation or anything like that, but he is just a physical monster. And he's gonna get the blockers. If you need him to block, check. He'll go there and bully anybody he wants to. The contested catches, check. He'll go ahead and do that. 53 receptions, 960 yards his senior season. Two-way player, also plays basketball, so he has that physicality to get up, for a vertical and everything like that. But just someone, the tight ends are always spicy, right? Because I don't think he's not getting 960 yards. Look at him. I just don't see that for many tight ends in college. But he's gonna be someone that's on the field, and I think because of his physicality and his mindset to just play the position he needs, whether it be a blocker or be a wide receiver, will help him see the field a lot more. And really, the LSU team, I mean, we're gonna look at a whole new kind of team here. They got a lot of people getting in the draft, and so this is exciting to watch. And I think LSU will do well for him.
All right, so I got a couple questions for you here, my friend. You think he's going to see the field this season with Mason Taylor being the guy?
No. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Nah. I think, but he's someone to watch, right? I mean, as a freshman prospect, I think he's someone to watch. And there's questions. Mason Taylor is someone. Kyron Lacey. There's tons of targets there. Whole new offense system. But again, a freshman that I think we need to watch moving forward, because he's going to get an opportunity.
27 points per game and 11 rebounds per game. Does that make you think that he's going to LSU to be a football player or a basketball player?
Got recruited for football, right? Right now he's committed.
Both.
Okay, see, I didn't know he got recruited for basketball too. So basketball's there, shit. I'll take him on my basketball league too.
So I start seeing numbers like that. I start seeing he got recruited for both sports. I start to worry which one is going to be the one that he wants to go with going forward. Also, he's got a 3.9 GPA. This kid is smart as a whip. So he's got a lot of options. Football doesn't have to be his main, appetite here. He could go any direction he wants to. I do like the athleticism. Like I said, you hit a bunch of points on him. The kid's got it. 900-something yards. Yeah, I don't expect that. I just worry that he might get buried for a little bit and not get complacent and be like, all right, well, I don't want to be the 2 or 3 here. I can go be, a power forward LSU, and we can run it, and I can go to the NBA and make good money. So I think you have to kind of watch that. But I do like the ball, because as an athlete, I think I just said in the last show that I did at CFB Nation, the coach for LSU, the tight end coach, that this is going to be the breakout season for Mason Taylor. Mm-hmm. So whether if he breaks out and pops, he could go to the draft. He also could stay another year. So we'll have to wait and see. A lot of factors there, but I do like the pick because the kid has the potential.
Yeah, I was not aware that he also good at basketball there too. I think he would probably do basketball over football. I mean, you talk about finances too. Money pays more in basketball and stuff like that. But, again, the athleticism is there. And it could play a part into Mason Taylor, because I agree, Mason Taylor's their tight end 1 right now. So he may say, well, actually, I'm going to get some playing time. Sometimes you do see some athletes that play both at the beginning, and then it's like, hold up, that's too much. I got to dial in on one. So we could see that, like he's, redshirt freshman year and then plays basketball or something like that. So that'll be interesting to watch. But good point there, because, I did not see that.
Nino, who's your final guy?
All right. This one is with a lot of possibility. It could be a huge ceiling, but could be a very, 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 very down the rabbit hole floor here. I do think he's going to win the QB1 rollout on Marshall, but I got Cole Pennington. Okay, he's the son of former NFL QB Chad Pennington. He threw 6 picks in 5 games last season for Marshall. But he was sacked 9 times. They had no offensive line outside of Ethan Driscoll. Okay, it was really bad for them. They addressed it. They hit the portal. They went out and got 3 or 4 guys to protect him up front. He's a Kentucky boy. Yeah, he knows how. This is what they do out there. They get quarterbacks and guys up front. This is what they do for football players in Kentucky. I think he will win this job. Now, do I think he's going to be a Devy asset and be an NFL guy down the road, I don't know. But if you want to talk in a C2C fantasy aspect, I think there's a good chance that he could be putting up some gaudy numbers if he can control the touchdown interception ratio and they can keep him upright. Obviously, the pedigree's there, the talent was there. He was recruited. Yeah, I think he had like 8 or 9 offers coming out of high school. So, like, he's got it. I just see if he can put the puzzle and the pieces together and if they can keep him upright.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the money. His dad played when it was tougher for quarterbacks to play. Like they had to, like as in they had to be physically tough. Now you touch on me, you get a penalty, right? So, he has that physical toughness. He can throw the floaters, and he has some pocket awareness. He doesn't really have the feet under him. Like he can get out of the pocket, but he's not necessarily gaining the yards. He's just getting out to extend the play a little bit, and if no one's there, then he's probably taking the sack there. But he's definitely someone that is a raw talent. Watching him versus Owen McGowan was fun to see because you see Pennington and Luke McGowan, no one's dad there. So that's always fun seeing two legacy prospects, I guess you can say there. But yeah, definitely a raw talent. And then your CFFs, I mean, I think this is a great pick. He could get drafted one day. We'll see just because he has that father, that bloodline in him. But definitely someone to just watch out for because Marshall's wide open. So I think that's a good pick.
He had 6 turnover-worthy plays, okay, which obviously enhances the 6 interceptions. But he also had 4 drops in the short amount of games. So, like, there was something. And offensive line coach Cody Crow went out and said they may not have studs to come in and fill the role of Ethan Driscoll and all that, but they have a lot of depth. So we might be seeing some rotation on this line to keeping the bodies fresh, to keep him upright, to see what we can do here. I don't know. It just feels like we'll have to see how April 20th when the spring game happens where they're at. But I feel like the kid's got an arm. He can make those bucket throws, right? Like he goes through, from what I see into his high school tape, he goes through some of the progressions. He was just under the rest in those games, like consistently last season. So let's just see if another year in the program, another year get dialed in that playbook, and see what they got. Keep him upright. I bet you're going to get some better results.
Do you think them bringing in 2 portal quarterbacks, including Braylon Braxton, who had an injury-plagued season last year at Tulsa, do you think that kind of hampers him at all?
It could, but you got to. He had, like you said, injury-plagued, but Cardell Williams just stole that from him, right out from underneath him. So it's like he got beat up by the freshman anyway. So we'll have to see if he's 100% healthy. Then they could push that room. That could be, like I said, iron sharpens iron. If he's not 100% healthy, I think that Pennington's got to have the edge going into like all the spring practices and game.
And those are some names to know and write down for your CFF, C2C, and IDP leagues. We're on to our next segment, our this or that segment. 2023 draft class versus 2024 draft class. First one, Tyjae Spears versus Jalen Wright. SC, you're up first.
Yeah, so this was tough because I want to buy into the Tyjae season, right? But they brought in Tony Pollard, and I know Tony Pollard isn't the main guy, right? But I feel that's gonna hurt. But the benefit of Tyjae is he had 5.4 yards per carry on 100 carries last season, so he has that juice there. I hate this running back class, but I'm going to take Jalen Wright. I think the speed is going to be a little bit more beneficial. He's going to be an X factor for a team in the sense he's not going to be a main back where Tyjae could possibly be the lead back there for him. But I think Jalen Wright just has better elusiveness, and he'll be able to do a little bit more with his opportunities there, wherever he goes.
I love Tyjae. I've interviewed Tyjae multiple times. Tajae's not going to be an RB1. That is why they brought in Tony Pollard. The knees, they have to make sure that they have, keep him healthy enough, not wear him down, that he can have at least make it through the first contract and then see what they got. They go through the evaluation process to see what they got, whether they're going to keep him. But there's no way they can have him be RB1 and give him 180 to 200 totes. There's no way. Maybe get that and touches combined on the receiving. Yeah, he had 500 yards on the ground, but he also had like 400 something yards receiving. He forced 26 missed tackles on the ground and then 27 missed tackles while he caught the ball. He is absolutely elusive. If you want to go college to college numbers, he makes Jalen Wright look like a puppy. Like, Jalen Wright can't find the end zone. My guy Tajae lives in the end zone, whether it's from 20 or 70. I like Jalen Wright's game, but if you want to go with who's going to be the better one in the committee, I got to go with the guy that's way more explosive, the guy that can just make a house call at any time. Give me Tyjae Spears.
Do you think You get to 180 to 200. So he had 100 carries last season. Just rushing, not talking about catching, but 100 carries last season. So what do you think is the ceiling for him this season? Like the
I think
cap
they
of what
split
he
it right
wants?
down the middle because they're similar. The coach already said it's a 1A, 1B. So I think it's
Yeah.
150 to 150, somewhere around 300. And then obviously there'll be junk carries for the third stringer, fullbacks, whatever they want to go with. But the coach already said that they need to get tight ends. So it's like they're trying to get 5 tight ends by the end of the draft. They need they're trying to run the ball. They're going to establish a running game first, and they're going to do like Cincinnati did. Bolster up front before all the injuries happen, right? Bolster up front, establish a running game like Mixon was, then be able to air the ball out. They're pulling it in pieces. They have Ridley. They have D-Hop. Tajay Spears is going to be a big. I guarantee you, this year's production, Tajay Spears doubles anything Jalen Wright puts on the table.
Okay. Fair.
Freshman versus freshman. James Peoples Jr. versus Jarrett Gibson. Nino, you're up first.
This was a good one. All right.
That was a good one.
You got 2 top 10 backs, right, in the class. 2 guys that are shifty, 2 guys that got some power to them. Then I looked at it for about 13 seconds, and then I realized it's James Peoples. It's been James Peoples, and it will always be James Peoples. I don't trust these rankings worth a damn. I think these rankings on these running backs, wide receivers, and QBs is horseshit, to be totally honest with you. James Peoples is going to see action this year. Jarrett Gibson is going to see maybe the inside of a water bottle all season, all right? Because between Baxter, Blue, and Keelan Robinson, I didn't think there's any way that Jarrett Gibson sees the field at all. It's very rare that a true freshman on offense gets to see snaps. We saw it last year in Baxter. But Shock don't like to play the young bucks early. So I don't think he's going to see any time. I think just James Peoples is a better all-around back. I just think he's powerful. He's got better contact balance, right? He's the type of guy that can hit you with a stiff arm and then break it to the outside. 2,000 yards last year. 31 touchdowns. I know Jarrett Gibson's got numbers, but I just think if you look at a body of work and a guy that you could plug in right now to start, if everybody at Ohio State was gone and everybody with Texas was gone, I think as a day one, James Peoples is going to give you better production day one than Jarrett Gibson would any day of the week.
So you said James Peoples sees opportunity this year, even with Quinshawn and Travion there?
Yeah, because why do you think Dallas Hayden ran, bro?
Yeah.
There's nobody else. He's the 3. He's the guy. At some point, you're going to have to – there's got to be a guy that catches the ball. There's got to be a guy to relieve it. Quinshon Judkins wasn't really a reception guy at Ole Miss, all right? So I don't know. They might want to feature a little bit of that this year to help his stock, get an all-around game for him. Trayvon Henderson will probably be more of the passing guy, but there's going to be a mix of peoples. It may not be in the first 4 or 5 weeks, but he's going to see some action, trust.
Okay. I like Peoples too, but Jerry Gibson, yeah, it's rare where we see a freshman running back just be great, right? Just out the gate. He's going to a loaded running back room. But you talk about, you remember those old commercials where you saw like the samurai sword cut through the pineapple? That's how Jared Gibson kind of slices through the defenses. He has that quick mobility to go there. He has some good contact balance too. I enjoy him. He's just someone. The Texas continues to just produce some running backs, and we've seen it time and time again where it doesn't have to be the RB. You want the RB1 that year, but even the following year. So I think as long as he stays there, transfer portal's crazy. We don't know. He could leave next year, whatever it may be. But if he stays there, they're just developing a good group of running backs year after year after year. It seems like we've just been talking about Texas running backs. So I think you have to watch out for him. We're talking about this season, James People for sure, but I think Jared Gibson – launch or maybe someone we talk about more so than we will James People down the line.
You ready for this one? Andy, bookmark it. Jarrett Gibson doesn't take a single snap for Texas ever. Ever.
As if he transfers?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I mean, that's the transfer portal is crazy, man. 5 years ago we're not talking about it like this, but yeah, if opportunity's knocking, these kids will leave in the snap. You know what I mean?
You liked his elusiveness, his shiftiness. That's cool. I'm with it. He does have that. I'll give me James People who can be shifty enough and then stiff your arm in the face and laugh at you as he runs right by you. I want the guy who's gonna have longevity, right? They got the same body structure. I just think James Peoples is more of a physical back. I think he can come out of the hole and if a linebacker wants to one-on-one him, he might run over that linebacker. I don't know if Jared Gibson could be running over any linebackers.
Yeah, people will get through the front seven with ease. Gibson, he's gonna rely on what he can do to get through it. And I think he get 5 to 10 yards after gain that initial contact. He can still gain an extra 5 or 10 yards. I think that contact balance is there. But yeah, I agree that toughness is there for James People. I think some DBs will be able to catch him though. Like I don't think that second gear is there quite yet. But I mean, it could be changed, right? So that's the biggest part. Well, he'll get through the front seven, but then your safeties, your top safeties or anything will be able to catch him as well.
Give me the RB that runs between the tackles first instead of the guy who runs to the outside.
Yeah, fair point.
Next one, position versus position. Dane Key versus Elijah Badger. SC, you're up first.
I love this new breakdown, right? Just this freshman, position. This is nice. Man, I'm gonna go with my guy I've just been on. I've been on him since he was a freshman. That's Dinky. I know there's tons of people there. He has it, but I'm a big fan of these wide receivers. Badger's a better guy for yards after the catch to get that, but Dinky just monster. Great high point catch kind of ball. A good target. In Kentucky there as well. It'll be interesting because I know we talked about in the past who they brought in. And Barry Brown's still there, which people love Barry Brown, but. I'm a Dane Key guy. That's been my guy since he was a freshman, so I'm going to stake with him and say he's the guy.
Elijah Badger does everything that Dane Key does better, plus more. Okay, Dane Key, what do you love so much that makes him so special, right? Like, he kind of got some butterfingers. I think he's been the benefit of other more talented wide receivers in his room, so he's drawing one-on-one with a third DB or a second DB. Right, he's had QBs with big arms both seasons that he's been there. Elijah Badger's had a QB carousel of freshmen and sophomores who have been on their second and third team, and this kid's produced. He's produced in the slot. He's produced out wide. Right, 26 missed tackles forced. Your boy Dane Key had 6. He can't shake nobody. Not even shake and bake works for Dane Key. All right, you want to talk about contested catch? 41%. If it's gonna be a jump ball, your boy ain't getting it. There's a lot of holes in this game that I think have been covered up by other receivers in the room. Elijah Badger just continues to like dominate in his room when there was other guys at Arizona State that have been talked about, as in Jalen Naylor, right? But Badger's done it. Now they brought in other guys like Jordan Tyson. Badger is still doing it. Like this kid versus Colorado, 15 targets, 12 receptions. Versus Washington, 11 targets, 8 receptions. Versus my Ducks, your Ducks, 14 targets, 7 receptions. They are force-feeding this kid, and the defenses can't stop him. He's going to be the dude that puts a better production and probably puts a better production at the NFL level. Give me Elijah Badger every freaking Saturday and probably on Sunday.
You said 41% contested catch. I have 55% for Dane Key.
I went to PFF, baby.
Yeah, but I think that's last year's, and I have that as his career, so that's probably why they're 55 for the career. But no, yeah, that's what I said. Yards after the catch, I think Badger's there. I just been rolling with Dane Key. Possibly he's getting the better looks because people are higher on Barry and Brown, at Kentucky, where I like Dane Key. I've been a fan of him because of his ability to go and catch and get after the ball. But yeah, he's not going to be he's no yak monster by any means, but give me a guy that can be a favorite target for your quarterback that needs it in the end zone too. But Badger, excuse me. He'll probably get more yards and stuff like that. I think he has more opportunity though in front of him too. He's not surrounded by 2 other wide receivers, so he could be the one there.
That was our this or that segment. Let's get right into our next one. 5 statements with Nino and SC. Statement number 1, class of 2025 running back and 4-star Alvin Henderson. The current consensus RB7 in the composites is leaning towards choosing Penn State. He will be better than Nicholas Singleton when it's all said and done. Nino, you're up first.
I believe he committed to Penn State today. I'm pretty sure he announced his commitment to Penn State today. Auburn lost out on another guy. Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. Nicholas Singleton is going to be looking up at my boy Henderson, his numbers, his whole body of work, the whole time. This kid this is the number 2 overall back in high school. 61 touchdowns. 61 touchdowns, 68 total. You're talking about a guy that put up 3,000 yards in one season. You're talking about a guy that's got unbelievable contact balance. It could take 3 or 4 guys. He's going to carry him for 3 or 4 extra yards. All right. They got a guy that can run both schemes. He can run a gap. He can run zone, power, whatever you want. He can do it. You're talking about a guy that has a short area burst. He got a little bit of Derrick Henry in him, and then he can make you miss kind of in a phone booth. And he got long speed. If he gets ahead of you, you are not catching him. You want to talk about people's getting caught from behind? Good luck catching Henderson from behind. This kid checks him up. Oh, the last one. He's an every down back because his quarterback stays clean as a whistle. You can put him in all white. There will be no grass stains. This kid does it all. He blocks, he runs, he catches, and he will burn you. Alvin Henderson is misranked and should be a top 3 back in this class, and I think he will be when it comes time for him to take a snap.
Let's see. I was just trying to see. Yeah, it looks like he did commit. I was trying to see that. Biggest thing, man. So when I was doing rankings, last season with the 2023 class, I had Branson ahead of Singleton, right? That was my guy. I was going for it. A big thing you have to look at these high schools, and we talk about all the time. Don't scout the helmet, man. But Henderson playing at a 1A school, a real small school, real small town. You know what I mean? So that's a big concern for me. The skill level is there with 100%, but Singleton was playing at a 5A Pennsylvania, one of their top schools. You know what I mean? So that's something where at that next level, that makes a difference. In high school, it looks great. Everything looks that. We talk about these top prospects in high school that go there. Right now, I gotta take Singleton, man. Just because if we go high school, that competition was heavier for Singleton in high school. That the speed and everything you talked about, over 3,000 yards, all that stuff is great. A lot of running backs, a lot of wide receivers, a lot of players have that. But that level is definitely different. When you're playing at a 1A compared to a 5A, that makes a huge difference. So right now, based on that, I'm taking Singleton at the next level. It's hard, though, because Singleton has a Katron problem. And I say problem, not that's an issue, but you have a good back in Katron Allen where he hasn't taken it further to that next level to be that guy, right? Katron's being there. So you could have Henderson go in there and be your lead back and be a top guy. But again, I think that makes a huge difference where it becomes it. So I got to take Singleton right now.
Hold on, Andy. Hold on. Okay? It's my guy. Now I can't. When you saw this guy and you watched your film, what did you get for a comp? Because when I looked at this dude, I saw the modern day LT. I saw a dude that's shifty coming out of the hole, can run outside, can run inside. Gets in front of you, probably not catching him. A dude who's got hands. I call him sideline Super Saiyan because if he gets to the sideline, you're not getting him. There ain't no angle you can catch as a linebacker or safety to stop this guy, okay? He's just, I understand the school, okay? I didn't want to jump this route because it's the next question. I'll just let it roll into it, Andy. Your boy shit his pants last season, homie. Shit his pants, and it rolled down his leg for all 12 games. Every aspect of his game went backwards. He got outperformed by Allen in every single statistical category. 4.4 yards per carry. That's almost 2.5 yards less than the season before. I mean, he had half the missed tackles. He had no explosion to him. His breakaway yards were non-existent. Katron Allen ate his lunch, his dinner, and his breakfast. This kid gets in the next year and Singleton stays. Oh, my Lord. He's going to be shaking his boots because he's got 2 guys that can come in and take his. This kid, I don't care what school he went to. I'm talking about the talent. I'm talking about what you see on film. This kid is misranked, misjudged. He will be a top 3 to 5 back in this class, and he will be a guy at Penn State that gets all the talk about in a year.
SC, hold on. Okay, so, I mean, I understand you want to talk about the competition with Alvin Henderson. With Nick Singleton, when he was in high school, he was in a triple option offense. Doesn't that pretty much equal itself out? Because you have Nicholas Singleton, who in high school was in that triple option, wasn't behind that traditional running style, and you kind of seen struggle at Penn State. I've said this for 2 years now. I said this during our Debbie 101 thing. Nick Singleton's not even the best back on his own team. Katron Allen has been and will be the best back on Penn State. And there's a segment I plan on doing on on my Debbie Digest show, and I have a future guest on, and we're going to talk about take lock and how the Debbie community is take lock. I think Nick Singleton is the take lock guy for next year. Everyone's saying he's RB1, RB2, but what has he actually done on the football field to garner that attention?
Not lately. 1 year. That's
So,
it.
that year, yeah, the K-Tron problem's there. I think bringing up that offense makes sense, but again, that it's hard because we talk about don't sky in the helmets, right? But that's something I think that makes a huge difference, huge jump coming from a smaller school to a way bigger one as well. Talent is there. I'm not knocking the guy. I think that's great, but him and Singleton, that'll be interesting. If Singleton stays, we'll see.
Hold on. Hold up. The Katron Allen problem doesn't make sense to me when it comes to the numbers. The same numbers on the same amount of attempts on the same amount of playing time. Your guys keep shitting his pants. It's not a Katron Allen problem. It's a Nicholas Singleton problem. Let's just address it the way it is. He has a problem. He can't be the alpha. He can't take over, and he had no explosion last year. I don't care what you say. He had less explosiveness than Trayvon Henderson did coming off an injury. How do you go from freshman year having it to sophomore year not having it, and you didn't have an injury? Something changed. I think he's getting – I think the running back behind him is starting to eat into his psyche because the kid behind him is doing better with less, kind of like Devin Achane did with Isaiah Spiller.
Do you think if he repeats what he did freshman year, which actually, we're going to get into this, but if he repeats what he does freshman year, does that change anything?
Yeah.
If he gets it back?
That would change for me a little bit. But the repeat can't mean that Allen did the same thing that he did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I need him to have a repeat and separate from Allen. I need you to put up better numbers, better yards, better yak, better breakaway, better red zone looks. Because when it comes to the red zone, Allen's getting more of that percentage, not Singleton.
I think what some of the issue is that Penn State weight room. Last year, he added like 13 pounds. This year, he added like another 7 pounds. I don't think he needs to add weight. I think he needs to lose weight because he's losing everything that was supposed to be. Yep. Yeah, his trait was being explosive. And let's might as well go into the next statement. Penn State running back Nicholas Singleton will have 950 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns. SC, that's your guy. You go first.
I mean, we're talking about it now, though. I mean, if the backfield is split 50-50, you want to talk about 50-50, this is right on the money. I think they both had, 150, 151 attempts, like just right on the money, close as you can get to 50-50. So with that's going back to he needs to repeat what he did freshman year. If he does it more and still gets 63 attempts, just a little bit more or anything like that, and still averages 5.6 yards per carry, he's gained like 920. So I don't think the 950 is there based on how they're running their offense. The 10 touchdowns possibly, because I think you can't find that end zone there. You mentioned, K-Tron's gained it there as well, but they both took a dip on their touchdowns too than they did freshman year. So that can definitely be there because they can definitely have it. I think he had 12 freshman year, if I'm not mistaken, so he could definitely have that there as well, but I'm not buying the 950. I mean, the running back room is split perfectly. Like you want to talk about symmetrical, this is that symmetrical running back room, and as long as K-Tron is there, that is it. You do want to see Nick Singleton repeat that freshman year to talk about, hey, this is RB1 again. Does he have it? I still like the kid. I think he's a great runner, but yeah, he needs to come out there and showcase and separate himself, like Nino was saying.
So if you have those concerns, is he still your RB1?
No, possibly not. I don't think so. That was the show we did like 5 weeks ago or so. Yeah.
So where with your rankings, if it's in flux right now, I understand. What is your top 5 running backs looking like? Because previously you had Singleton as 1. Who'd you have at 2? Travion or Quinshawn?
Let me see. Quinshawn right now, and then I had Gordon, then K-Tron. But now switch them around. We're Quinshawn, like you mentioned, probably the one, right? and then I have Gordon, then Katron, and then I would still put Singleton over Travion and Raheem. So Singleton would be my 4.
So you have Katron at 3 and Singleton
And
at
Singleton,
4.
yeah, right behind them.
Where's Hampton?
Hampton, right? I have Neil behind Henderson and Raheem, and then Neil, and then Hampton. So 8.
All right, that's a topic for another show. That's a topic for a whole different show. But when we're talking about the expectations, no, he doesn't hit that. I don't think he gets to 1,000 yards or 10 touchdowns. And I'm going to tell you a reason why. And it ain't been a reason that we've even mentioned yet. A gentleman by the name of Quentin Martin Jr., freshman, that I think is going to see some time. Okay. And I don't think it's going to be split 50-50. I think you're going to see this kid probably get maybe 10, 12% of these carries. He's 1,200 yards on rushing. He also had 53 receptions. That is why I think he gets on the field. Also, you've been hearing the hype now for a little bit, and we're hearing that Drew Aller is starting to come along in this camp. If Drew Aller takes that step, they're going to be more of a passing offense. They brought in a big receiver in the portal. Don't rule out that they're not going to be around the. James Franklin needs to find an identity. He's been lost like identity fraud for a very long time. Okay, the run, ground and pound ain't working for him. It doesn't establish. Maybe they come up with a new scheme where they let Allah finally air the ball out. If that's the case and they go to a pass heavy, watch out for Martin Jr. He could be a guy that comes in and you're like, where the heck did this guy come from? And Nickel Singleton is now not taking a back seat, but not getting that 50-50 split that he thought he was getting. You got to remember, too, all those touchdowns in his freshman year, I want to say 7 of the 12 were over 25 yards. He's not a red zone threat. He's never been. And it was like 8 or 9 missed tackles forced year. All of his numbers that involve explosiveness dipped.
Yeah, I think with Singleton, I think the issue with him is his freshman year, he was explosive. He had a lot of runs that he bounced to the outside. Mm-hmm. This past season, it was almost as if he wanted to make a point that he will only run between the tackles, and we saw less explosiveness because of that. So I kind of want to see him lose some weight and then just take the runs outside if it's there. I mean, that's natural to us. He is part of that triple option. He was that option that went wide. So that is what he knows. And I think he, kind of what Nino says, he needs to find that identity of what he really is. Next statement. There will be 4 quarterbacks drafted in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. And I want to know each of your first-round quarterbacks for next year. Nino, you're up first.
I talked to you a little bit about this earlier today. So he's been my one, just like, you have your guy that's been your one from the start, and it's been my guy from one. If he's 100% healthy and comes back to a good year, Connor Weigman is my one, okay, in this class. I think Jackson Dart is my 2. Then I have Quinn Ewers, who I've been at 3. I've had Quinn Ewers at 3 for 2 years now. He's been my guy right there. And then I have Beck at 4. But if Weigman isn't 100% healthy, doesn't get a full season in, give me Shedeur Sanders at 4 and just bump everybody up 1.
I misread that question. I'm not going to lie. I thought it's the 2024 class, so I did everything on that one about 4 quarterbacks. So let me...
All right, as you look at yours, Nino, do you think there'll be 4 quarterbacks drafted in next year's draft in the first round?
So I also said to you in the chat, if Weigman's healthy, there could be 5 because Dallas Cowboys could get a boner for Shedeur Sanders, and they could do whatever they need to do to keep him in, around that area. Bring Dion home to his old team. We're talking about nostalgia and legacy and stuff like that. I mean, I could see it happen. Dak's got a big contract. I talked about it with this guy was on a podcast, Dylan, earlier this week. Like, big money, like Shedeur coming in there wouldn't be a battle. Kind of like a similar game. He's a little bit small. I say similar game to Dak now because he doesn't really run as much. Before the injury, he was a little bit more mobile. Yeah, I mean, I really think Weigman and Doc could be the 2 guys that kind of run away with this year. And don't rule out Quinn. I mean, you've heard all the potential, right? Like, he was put up there with the Burrow, and he went kind of the same route, Ohio State, then transferred. We saw him take, in my eyes, I think he took a step last year. The only thing I need to see another step out of him is a deep ball. His deep ball is not
Yeah.
very good at all. Okay. But I think what they did this year, they surrounded him with a lot of short area, quick receivers. Bolden, Golden, like all of these guys. I think you're gonna see. You could see gaudy numbers from Quinn, and he might not even have to throw the deep ball.
And then if he does, it'll be Isaiah Bond right there with that speed. So I think, as he's looking through, I think Texas is set up for a good year. Quinn Ewers, he does need to prove that, kind of that deep ball, see what he can do. And then if you also include short area targets, Amari Niblack, the guy from Alabama as well. And then if you want my rankings, my Debbie rankings, you find them on the Debbie Royale Patreon. Go subscribe to them, show some love. $1.99 will get you on the lowest tier. SC, are you ready?
Yeah. So, do I think, repeating that first question, 4 quarterbacks taken in next year's draft? Yeah, I can see 4 on my 4. Y'all know I have Shedeur Sanders. That's my guy. I'm riding with him. I think that he just has a lot of steam on him. And regards to team, even if he has a similar year what he had this year, the team's going to fall in love with him just because that name. So I think he's going to be someone that could be a first-round quarterback. Dillon Gabriel, y'all know he's my QB2. Oregon, I think if he has that blowout year, if he comes out here and throws for 4,000 yards, that's going to help him rise, and he could definitely rise into being a first-round quarterback just because of that right there, okay? Carson Beck is my other one, and then Quinn Ewers would be my 4. So I can see 4 going next year. A lot of things have to play in consideration there, but I can see 4, and those would be my top 4.
All right, I see. We need to have a talk.
I was trying not to go.
This isn't the hosted by SC Romero on the CFB Nation that you can catch every other week live. Give me your thoughts on Dillon Gabriel and why he's your QB2 and a potential first-round pick next year.
This just has everything to do with the offense he's going into. I just think Oregon knows how to unlock those quarterbacks. We saw what they did with Nix when he left from Auburn to go there. They are in a different conference, so that does play a huge consideration there. But if we're talking about what landing in that scheme could do for him, I think this is an opportunity for him to elevate. A guy that's always getting over 3,000 yards. Again, if he gets over 4,000 yards, I think that has to be a mark. He has to go out there and have that similarity to what Bo Nix did. The difference was I saw Bo Nix with a little bit more mobility. So that would be my reasoning if he does slip into there. But because that's my expectations for him, so that's why I do have him at QB2, because I think he can elevate to have the best year of his collegiate career.
But if we're talking systems, why not, Braden Schrager at Hawaii? He'll put up 4,000 yards. He'll get you 30 touchdowns. He can run the ball. Why not him? For the NFL, we need to talk about traits that'll work in the NFL. What traits do you see for Dillon Gabriel that we've seen on footage from UCF and at Oklahoma that will translate into a first-round pick, let alone being in the NFL as a backup?
I think his pocket presence. I think he has some great precision when he's throwing the ball. He has a good arm. I wouldn't say it's a cannon arm or anything like that, but he knows when he needs to escape. He can extend the play to get it. Again, he's not as mobile as I saw Bo Nix was, but he is someone that has that precision, that accuracy to get to his wide receivers. The wide receiver room in Oregon is stacked. And again, it comes into playing the system and where he's at. You talk about a guy at Hawaii. Yeah, sure. Don't scout the helmet. The NFL does at points, so that's.
I don't think the Hawaii kid's going to the NFL. I was just saying.
Yeah, but
for stats
for CFF, sure, but it's like that. That's something we're talking about. Quarterbacks drafted in the first round. A kid that goes in there at Oregon and puts up 4,000 yards in a single season, I think, can elevate his draft stock heavily to be one of your top guys there. I think right now you can argue that Bo Nix could be friends. There's different opportunities there where I think 5-6 quarterbacks go in this one just because the team needs. So that's where I say, because of where he's at in the system, that can elevate him into being one of your top QBs next year.
When Bo went to Oregon, there was no established dog offensively, right? They all emerged with Bo. Franklin, Tez, everybody. Dillon Gabriel said this morning, I went to Oregon because they have everything in place for me. It's perfect. The pieces, everything they're doing, the defense, they're building it. Like, he went to a makeup situation for him. You don't think NFL scouts are going to say, okay, this kid put up 4,000 yards and 30-something touchdowns? Didn't have anything to do with Tez Johnson or Evan Stewart. or the two running backs they had nothing to do with that. It had to do with Gabriel. All the questions Kyler Murray had about his height, 5'10", 5'11", his talent barely got over that. There was questions about him being a first-round pick because of that. I don't think Dylan Gabriel's in the same realm as Kyler Murray.
Do you have concerns of Gabriel when you watch him at Oklahoma? He would lock into his first read, and if it wasn't there, he would kind of scramble, be in rush mode, and just run. And then do you also have questions about his arm talent? When you see Oklahoma and they tried to do the deep passes, they're beyond moon balls because he doesn't have the power. It's just arc after arc. So we know in the NFL, if you're not 6'4", 6'3", and you're his size, you need to have traits that will compensate for that. I don't think he's a good runner for the NFL. I don't think he has a great arm for the NFL. I don't even think his arm is even accurate for the NFL. I just want to know, besides putting up possibly 4,000 yards in an Oregon system that is predicated on space and getting your receivers open to create after the catch. And he has Evan Stewart, the wide receiver 1 in this coming 2025 class for me. And then, you have Tez on the other side. Those are guys that will create after the catch. So pretty much anyone that can dink and dunk and have receivers make yards after catching, accumulate stats that way will get you to the NFL?
No, not necessarily. I think systems matter, though. You play the bigger system. I mentioned earlier that cannon isn't there. He does have some precision when he's throwing short intermediate throws, and again the mobility. Yeah, he gets rattled or he gets his feathers ruffled when that pressure's coming in, but he can't extend it. But he's not necessarily gaining the yards after that. So those are some traits that can do it. But again, I feel because he has been a consistent passer of over 3,000 yards each year of his career, except one. Taking this next step could be something that quarterbacks or NFL scouts end up seeing to say, okay, he did it and Oregon did. This is that make or break year for him to say, are you that guy to be it? Regardless of what the system is, even if he's saying, I have these guys, this is why I came here. This is a make or break year to say, okay, well, now go out there and showcase it to be a top guy.
So what would the showcase and take that next step be? He gets a deep ball and lines up on the center 90% of the time because he's going to be in shotgun 95% of the time if he makes it to the next level, right? And then he can't throw a deep ball. We're talking about a guy in a system that puts up good. We just watched it. The best QB-friendly system in the whole country in Tennessee. Joe Milton has the deep ball arm, right? And he's probably not even going to go in the first 3 rounds if he even goes in the first 5. And he's more of a prototypical NFL quarterback than Dylan Gabriel is. I just think you have to be absolutely elite at that size, right? Without having much mobility at that size as well. Tua had a little bit of mobility. You know what I mean? Kyler has mobility. He was one of the best mobile quarterbacks. They're smaller guys. He's going to be in the shotgun way, way too much. And they criticize Baker, who's a little bit taller, for being in the shotgun all the time, right? But at least Baker in the shotgun is elite. He's really, really good. I don't know if Gabriel can be elite in the shotgun the whole time at the next level.
And we've seen Dylan Gabriel being nothing but RPO type of spread system. So he goes from one to another. So if you're telling me it's all about the system, then the NFL is just looking for spread systems like Oregon, and you can plug and play anyone from Oregon to the NFL?
No, good points there. Again, I think this is something that can make or break year for him, that it can possibly be that you're going to a spread system, one of the best in the country, I feel like, when it comes to Oregon. And this is the deep ball is going to be the biggest concern because he has precision, but it's not when you have that cannon arm going down. He doesn't have that, but he has wide receivers that can go deep, that can get it, that can make it. And this could be an opportunity where the wide receivers make him look better than what he is. Because like you mentioned, Evan Stewart can go deep and do it. And we can see a breakout year from Evan Stewart happen, but that can be something that elevates Gabriel to also be someone where they see that.
If Evan Stewart is averaging 14 yards per catch, right? But the average depth of target is 6.3. Yeah, Dylan Gabriel's going to have great numbers, but it's all on his receiver. The numbers don't mean shit It's got to be more of what you see in the film and what and how his mechanics are and what he produces. I don't give it. He could throw for 3,000 yards, right? 1,000 yards less than what you're saying. But if he's got a deep ball, right, and he's going through his reads, and we're not just dunking and dinking, then we got something to talk about. But if he keeps playing the same way he's playing, I want nothing to do with him.
I mean, with Dylan Gabriel, I mean, he's been a fine college football player, but the guy can't get past his first read, and he's been in college forever. And Oregon is getting Oklahoma sloppy seconds. Oklahoma say, you know what, we use you, we're done. We got a new one that we want. You can go wherever you want. Does that have any indication for you that Oklahoma didn't want him?
He was out quick.
I think Oregon just saw an opportunity to get a guy to be a proficient passer for them to get with the wide receiver room they have. Dante Moore is there too, but I mean, I've even said it on the O. If Dante Moore stayed there last year, it would have been his team. But because he left, they brought in this veteran to sit behind him and be like, all right, this is your team. So that's where I think Gabriel fits in.
So a quarterback that can't read defenses, has below average size, below average arm, below average accuracy, simply can't read a defense behind his first read, panics far too often, goes into his hot read far too soon, doesn't know how to actually read a defense. I've probably said that 3 times now. Has maybe at best a below average arm. He is the QB2 and a first round NFL pick for an NFL team. There's 32 of them. You think one of them is going to take him in the first round? You think a general manager is going to risk his career and take Dylan Gabriel in the first round of the NFL draft in 2025?
I think if he answers those questions in Oregon, we can start talking about them. So yeah,
he hasn't answered them in 5 years. You think he's going to answer them because all of a sudden Dan Lanning is this wizard and he's going to somehow pump Dylan Gabriel with a bunch of HGH and steroids to get him to have a strong arm?
I would say all the steroids there. I hope he doesn't take PEDs, but I think there's an opportunity there for him to just find better success. Yeah.
You know how earlier I mentioned take lock? That is the definition of take lock, folks.
There you go.
Statement number 4. A class of 25 quarterback and 4-star Bear Bachmeier has committed to Stanford. Bachmeier will be the starting quarterback in 2026 over current freshman Elijah Brown, who went to Mater Dei, and the current starter Ashton Daniels, and help lead the Cardinal to winning records and bowl game wins during his tenure at Stanford. Nino, you're up first.
I'm a fan of the whole Bachmeier crew. I'm a big fan of Bear, who's already at Stanford. I think not Bear. Is it Tiger? Tiger's already at Stanford, correct? The wide receiver. Long-haired guy is out there, gritty. Gives me that Julian Edelman type of swag. Right? I think he was a quarterback converted to wide receiver as well. We've talked about, me and you have talked about these two guys in the room now, and Daniels and Elijah Brown. Daniels is probably the best running back in the room right now. He's the quarterback. But I really like Brown, and I'm going to go out and say that I think Brown is going to be the quarterback of the future there. This kid's got juice, right? 30-plus touchdowns, only threw 4 interceptions, close to like 2,800 yards. He's not really not a really mobile threat per se. Like, he only had 100-something yards, but he did score 4 touchdowns. He's accurate. He's been a 4-year starter in high school since he was a freshman, right? He's a leader. Right, he can escape the pocket and make the throws off platform. Like I said, he's not going to be out there running for 400 or 500 yards. He might get 40 total on the season, between sacks and everything. But he can extend the play. He's got a big arm. He can make them, deep passes. He can also make the bucket throws. I just like everything that Elijah Brown brings to the table. If you watch any of his, his high school film, you see he got a little bit of swag and twitch to him too when he's out there in the back. I've seen a lot of like these, I don't know, fake signal motion plays where he's just like fake handing off while tucking the ball, like roll out a little bit, then throw a deep bomb. So I like everything he's got in the arsenal. I think it'll be down the stretch. It'll be, Bachmeier and him. I think Daniels might hit the portal this year. I think it'll be him, but I think you might see Daniels hit the portal at the end of the year.
I have Brown, man. I put in notes. This guy can throw a spiral at a screw and unscrew that thing. His spirals are beautiful. You know, I mean, he just has that accuracy. Just hitting on Bear though, this kid's an acrobatic quarterback, and we're seeing a lot more of these guys. And when I say acrobatic, I mean like he's throwing from whatever angle. He is throwing, you know, off the back foot, jumps, whatever it may be. You know, behind his back if he needs, not really, but you know what I mean. Like he's just throwing all these weird angles and can throw it. I think he has great precision, but I'm with you. I think I'll take Brown. I think Brown has the stronger arm where he's hitting that, and Bear isn't really hitting those tight windows. He can throw down the seam, don't get me wrong, but because of that spiral, I mean, that you have a quarterback that can throw a beauty of a spiral like that, like Brown, I will take him. So
his body structure reminds me of like a Jaden Daniels style body structure. He just doesn't have the mobility to him. You know what I mean? Like Daniels was a 1,000-yard runner, 800 yards this junior year, but like this is the structure of it. The way he's got the long lankiness to him, they're athletic, they can escape, you know, in the pocket, and like they have that little swag to him.
And it's more like Bear. He, as I say, acrobatic too. He's very raw. I think he still has to do some polishing. So he could be that if he gets that coaching under him and stuff like that. But that's where it is with Bear. I mean, I think he just seems like a natural.
He might convert as well to a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like Hank could be the true quarterback out of the whole family. I mean, like I said, Tiger was also a quarterback in high school, and he converted to wide receiver, and he's pretty damn good at it. Don't get me wrong.
Statement number 5, Wisconsin wide receiver Will Pauling will be next year's draft riser and be in the same mold as Roman Wilson, Ricky Purcell, JSN, Jaden Reed, Ladd McConkey. SC, you're up first.
Oh, I wanted this one.
I actually like that you put the Ladd there, because you talk about wide receivers that are very slippery and stuff like that. I think that's what Paulson does, and that's what's going to make him one of those risers, because he's just so quick and it's so effective. It's not something that he's just doing and he's like slipping or anything. That speed is effective. He has his feet under him, and he gains that separation like that. And that's something that I think now that people are on to Ladd McConkey, they're going back and watching that tape and saying, damn, look at what this kid is doing to get that separation. It's not about the crisp route running, the fluidity. It's just he's just, you know what I mean. And that's something that I see in Paulson. So that's where the comps that you gave there, I think Ladd is the closest one for me.
Please don't ever put JSN in any of those categories again. That was the only time I looked at the doc that you made. I went, this MFer, what are you doing here? But I like it. I went all the way back to Cincinnati, where he first signed, and watched some of the film he had there in spring camps and stuff. This kid's footwork is top notch. 95% in the slot last year. He had 7 games of 10+ targets. This is what crazy. It was 7 out of the last 9. They finally realized what they got. He kind of felt like comfortable in his role. The only thing I didn't like last year, he had 7 drops. We got to clean that up. But like he even said it, you know, he's a smaller wide receiver. He goes, I'm a skinny waist, big butt type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's thick from the waist down, so he's good in routes. You could tell, like Ladd. If you look at Ladd, he's got his legs, the upper part of his legs are thick. He's good at the routes, good, quick-footed. Like he's a 2-sport athlete. He was a basketball player, and he had to make a decision when he went to Cincinnati, just like the tight end we talked about LSU, whether he was going to play, you know, baseball or he was going to play football. He had to make that decision because they recruited him for both. He ended up, you know, taking football, like I said, and then he ended up transferring over. He's a leader, small guy, but he's that leader in the room. You watch any of these films, he had him mic'd up. He just gets everybody. He gets the best out of everybody. He's an energetic guy. You mentioned, you know, these guys in the slot, like a Julian Edelman type guy, like just always full of energy. The Energizer Bunny gets the best out of his teammates. A guy that's never going to get outworked. That's one thing I read everywhere is this kid's like just grinding all the time. He's the first one on the field in the wide receiver room. He's the last guy off the field. I think this kid can carve out a niche as being one of these top-notch wide receivers in the slot in this next class.
Yeah, I talked about Gabriel earlier. He has a new QB too in Van Dyke, right? So Van Dyke has a lot to prove. This could be something, you know, to be his favorite target. But I think that pulls a lot to him, you know, to have that guy there and someone that's gonna be, hey, I'm your guy. Make sure you gave me the ball. I'll make sure I'm open.
Bonus statement. Oregon starting quarterback in 2026 is currently not on the roster. Nino, you're up first.
You're damn right he's not on the roster. That's facts. The quarterback for 2026 is Akili Smith Jr., okay? I don't give a shit about anybody, any other guy that's talked about, anybody that's on the team. I don't care. This kid is him, right? He's 6'5", 205 pounds. He puts up big numbers at a young age. I think he had like 2,500 yards last year, 25 touchdowns. We're talking legacy here, folks. We're talking like carrying the yellow and green. We're talking about you cut it and it pulls out of his skin. That's all this family knows. His father, okay, in the year in 1998 was his senior year. He got drafted in that 99 class, number 3 to Cincinnati. It was a travesty that he wasn't in the top 12 for the Heisman voting. Like Sean King and Joe Germain should not have had more votes than Achilles. Achilles Smith didn't get any votes, but those two quarterbacks shouldn't have. Like, yes, Michael Bishop, Ricky Williams, yes, okay, I'm cool with it. But Achilles Smith was, dude, this guy, like, he just figured out a way to make it work. He was a mobile guy in the pocket. He wasn't going to be running for 500, 600 yards, but, like, he was just a guy that knew how to get W's. He knew how to elevate his teammates. And you talk about Gabriel. This is a guy that made the best of what he got, who could throw the ball deep, who could throw the check down, right? Gabriel can't do all of that. Achilles Smith was a freaking duck before he was a duck. And the reason why that quarterback of 2026 is his son is because this is going to live the legacy. You want to talk about what Dion did and brought all this stuff in? Guess what Achilles Smith Jr. is going to bring? He's going to be bringing in them old Ducks back. Just today alone, Urban Meyer was in Eugene. Why? I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it because I get a little nervous. I know there was a coaching conference and everything, but he was there and he was at the practice. But you're going to be getting all these. You're going to be bringing back. You know who Achilles Smith's teammates was? Joey Harrington. Bring him back. Let's bring up all these eldermen. This is what Achilles Smith Jr. and that family bring to the table. Keelan Russell, stay at SMU, bro. I don't even want you here. I got the guy of the future, and he's the guy. He is going to grow into his body. 6'5", 200 pounds. He's 16 and a half, 17 years old. Wait till he's a freshman on campus. He's going to be like 225, 6'7". This kid is going to be a monster, and this kid could be your modern-day Cam Newton. Give me Achilles Smith 2026 and for 3 years, because I don't think he makes it after 3 years. He's going to the show.
Yeah, man. I mean, can I just say watch the O? No, I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, I agree 100%. And that's where, man, you know, we love Dante Moore coming out last year. And again, if he stayed, this is his team. I don't think they go after Gabriel. This is his team because he knows the system. But he just ruined his chances. And I think Smith coming in is big. Lanning has said he wants to get 2 more quarterbacks in that portal or in that class as well. So that's what scares me a little bit. I know that legacy is there, so I doubt he transfers out. But if he goes and gets 2 more, it shakes things up a little bit. Keelan Russell, someone that has a visit planned with Oregon as well. But Achilles Smith Jr. hits every single factor in what you want. And I think because of that legacy aspect, they got to keep him there, right? They're going to do what they can to keep him there because his dad is a legacy from Oregon as well. That's my guy moving forward as well. I don't think it's Dante Moore. I just think he came out today and talked about he said something like, I love Lanning. Lanning texted me back. I just knew I had to come back here. It was great coming back, seeing all the guys I kind of went through spring camp with and stuff like that. But it's like, bro, you kind of lost that credibility for yourself because you left. Because I get it. You want to be that guy, right? So you left to UCLA. You wanted to be him. Didn't work out. Now you came back. But it's like, bro, time moves on. You know what I mean? So that we've already gone on to the next class. Like, yeah, you were there for us before, and now this is the next one. So that's where Smith comes in. If Moore would have stayed, I'd be more confident to say it was him. But because he left, I think Smith Jr. is going to be that guy.
Yesterday's price ain't today's price, boys. And that's all I got to say about Dante Moore. Listen, Achilles Smith is teaching his son how to do it with nothing, okay? Damon Griffin and Tony Hartley, you know what they did at the next level? One of them didn't even go. Damon Griffin had like a 3-year career and was poof. And he made them both 1,000-yard receiver. The best guy in that offense outside of Achilles Smith was Jed Weaver, the tight end, okay? He threw for 3,000 yards, 30-7. Like I said, you want to keep the legacy continued? Maybe when he left, that chapter was like this, and now guess what? We're opening the book back again, and we're going to write a new story. And this one, they're going to write in the sunset together. Give me Achilles Smith.
Like 65% completion, something like that for his career right now, too. So,
and then with Keelan Russell, it's just a visit. He's still committed to SMU, so there's nothing breaking news or anything there. Those were our 5 statements. Now we're going to bring you some 2024 NFL rookies to think about. SC, who's your guy?
So we're staying on the Oregon bandwagon, right? This is really just someone I say think about to just bring awareness because I know a lot of people have Bucky Irvin high. I think this what they did in the free agency this season, the NFL for going after running back says a lot about this running back class, right? Bucky Irvin is going to be someone I feel people will draft higher than what they should as far as in their rookie drafts. But I think you got to kind of take it with caution. I like what he does. I like that he can separate, that he can break the plays and do all that. I just don't know if he's going to get the opportunity that we want. So this is kind of a watch it kind of play because I feel you're going to try to get him early in your second, maybe mid-second rounds in your rookie drafts, where you can possibly get him later if you let him slide. So it's more just be awareness of it because I think that opportunity that we will want him to get isn't going to be there. And I don't think he's going to be as efficient as we think he will be at that next level as well. So it's more of a rookie to think about and watch it because he might go to a great team. People are going to scream it, like, oh, he's a fourth round running back. Those are some guys you got to watch out for. And maybe you take him, but I say let him slide and you could get him later.
I think Bucky Irvin is going to be in the next, say, 1 to 5 years. He will be maybe a poor man's version of Austin Eckler. I think he's going to be a guy that can get you the guards on the ground. I think he's going to be the guy that can get you guards, passing. We watched everything they said about Bucky Irvin for 3 straight years. He's corrected. Oh, Bucky Irvin last year all I heard was Bucky Irvin only runs outside of tackles, right? Bucky Irvin's great. 6 yards per carry outside tackles, only 4 yards in between. What did he do this year? He made it a point to run in between the tackles and get that over 5 yards per carry. What else did he do? Dominated in the pass game. What else did he do? Dominated as a pass blocker. He was Bo Nix's favorite guy because Bo Nix knew if Bucky was in the backfield, he wasn't getting touched. If Bucky was around, if in a pocket collapse, I got Bucky as a security blanket. I think Bucky Irvin is going to have an A-OK NFL career because he is going to be a versatile back that can be used on any down.
So you think early? Well, I say early, so like mid-second is a good spot for him for rookie drafts.
I don't think any running back's going to the and rookie drafts.
Rookie, like fantasy wise, rookie drafts.
Yeah, I think somewhere in the mid seconds fine with Bucky Irvin.
Okay.
Yeah, if we're talking fantasy, there's going to be no running backs taken in the first round, right? Based on super flex, tight end premium.
Sure.
I say the first running back that gets taken off the board probably like 203, 204.
So
207 to 212. That's where I got it.
Yeah,
I think that's where you have a run towards that end.
So
you have a run
maybe late second, early third for Bucky, I would say.
If you get him in the early third, that's good value. Real good.
That's why I think though, like you can I think he's one of the guys you can let because the wide receiver class is so deep, you can let him slide. So that's my point is don't necessarily take that chance on him in that 205. I've seen him again. We've talked about Mox in the past. 204, 207 is where I've seen him. Where I think you can let him slide a little bit longer because the wide receiver class is so deep. We're going to see a lot of wide receivers off the board. Let him slide, and then that's the value you want to take him at.
Granted, draft capital matters.
Plays a lot.
He lands in Minnesota, Chargers.
100%.
Then now you're looking at a guy that could be putting up production right off the rip. So we'll have to wait and see.
Nino, who's your rookie to think about?
So I wrote an article earlier for League Winners on Devin Mockabee, how I believe this year is going to be his year. But while I was watching that footage on Mockabee, we're breaking down film, the reason why I think he's going to have a breakout season, A, is because he's got the juice to put up 800 yards. But the guy in front of him, Tyrone Tracy Jr., he's moving on, right? But this guy puts up production. 113 carries, 716 yards, 8 touchdowns. Yes, folks, that is 6.3 yards per carry. No, that's not the best thing. I love that. The fact that this kid is a special teams dog. I'm talking about big yardage, right? Big numbers. He has no problem playing. He got long speed, right? He is a threat to take it to the house. He's a receiving threat. 4.48 40. I'll take that speeder all day, right? He's great at blocking. He runs between the tackles, and then he can bounce it to the outside. He had 700 yards, but 506 came after contact. You're talking about a guy who had 76% yardage after contact. That's a guy that does not go down off first rip. That's a guy that has great contact balance, right? 44 missed tackles forced. People want to talk about Marshawn Lloyd and how he's so good at this and that. Marshawn Lloyd is Stevie Wonder when it comes to vision compared to Tyrone Tracy Jr., okay? Tyrone Tracy Jr. could find his way through a mouse hole and get positive yards. Marshawn Lloyd couldn't run straight through open lane behind a garbage truck sometimes. He decides he would rather run into traffic. If you want to talk why Marshawn Lloyd's such a good NFL prospect, Tyrone Tracy Jr. is better in all aspects of it, whether it's passing, running, explosiveness, missed tackles force, first yardage. It doesn't really matter what category. Tracy's the guy, and he is super elusive. Give me Tracy. I think his stock's going to rise. He's probably going to be a guy that goes 4th, 5th round, but he's probably going to be one of the guys that produces a lot earlier than some of these other guys.
So I'm glad you brought up the special teams because I think that's where he earns his spot right out the gate is on the special teams because of that. And those are the guys you want in those later rounds, right? The guys that are gritty and say, I'll work my way out of the special teams to do that. And I just put here a quick note. I'm taking Tyrone Tracy all day over Isaac Arando. I think Arando's going to fly up draft boards because he had that great combine, all this kind of stuff. I'd rather take Tracy 3rd, 4th round when Garando's going, back end of the 2nd, maybe because people are crazy, or even the 3rd. I'd rather take Tracy later. So I love that. I love Tracy.
Tracy is also a former wide receiver converted to running back, and he picked up that game pretty fast. Friend of the Debbie Degens and friend of the Debbie Digest, Corey P. from C2C. He loves his wide receivers converted to running back, and so do I. So he is a great name to watch for. Now, those are some rookies to think about. Now, rookie values, they fluctuate daily. Now, leads us into our next segment, the stock exchange. Nino, who's your stock guy?
I'm going to stay local. I'm going to go with a Boston College guy that I know Andy knows. I've been pounding the table about this guy, and it seems as though I think a lot of other gentlemen in the community, shout out Volume Pigs. I know he's a big fan of this guy that I'm about to mention. Boston College wide receiver Jaden Skeet, local kid out of Hyde Park, right? Just has that juice. Didn't really see much time last year till the Connecticut game. Made a one-handed, the ball was behind him, just full stretch. Showed the athleticism to him, showed the catch radius. Just this week, Lewis Bond, who he's the backup to, kind of in, I don't know if it's an elbow, shoulder injury, was in a sling. Wasn't in the sling today, but was in the sling earlier this week. Spring game is Saturday. I've talked to this guy, Brendan, the PR guy. I'm there for practices and stuff. They're going to get this kid targets, okay? Shout out to C2C, Dirty Mike and the boys. I talked to him about him last year. He wasn't even a top 300 prospect, but he hit the year 1 rankings for wide receivers. And he was like, oh, well, he wasn't on the map for me, but he is now. This kid, I think they brought in pieces, obviously Brantley and McGowan, they brought in around him. I'm telling you, he's going to be an integral part of this offense. The speed, the hands, just the wow factor. He's got it. Next year, he's the guy. But this year, I think you're going to start to see him develop. And next year, you're going to be like, okay, I need to get some shares of this kid.
Yeah, he hit on the money, juice, and he knows how to separate. He knows how to get loose with the DBs and get them off him and stuff like that. He's good hands too. Something you all look at. He checks all the marks and what you're looking for in the wide receiver. So I love that pick.
SC, who's your stock guy?
So I brought this up because was it the show on CFP Nation on Mondays, Overreaction Mondays? Y'all were talking about quarterback list, and Cam Rising was mentioned there. And I believe, Nino, you brought up back concern. So I wanted to bring it up because I think he's if they have him in top 10, I don't think he could be that top 10. It's just that injury. You need to come out there and prove it, right? But I think he is someone, if they're not, because someone's scared about that, go buy low on him. Because I think right now, rumors are he's going to be healthy, right, for this upcoming season. So if he goes back to that healthy season he had 2 years ago of over 3,000 yards, 64% completion there, that's someone you can have on your CFF teams that I do enjoy to have. So in that sense, I want to go buy him. But if they have him in top 10, I think that's too high, and they may not take whatever you get for him. But I would go buy him, and that's Cam Rising. I hate to say that because I don't like Utah, as a school, being an Oregon fan here. But they just dominated Oregon a couple times. But I think that's a great pick for him to be if you can buy low on him.
I said on that same show on Monday, any quarterback or linebacker with back or neck concerns, I'm out. I can't go in a guy and put him in the top 10 to be drafted to the NFL, knowing that all it's going to take is one blindside hit, and there goes my investment. Gone. Now, he may still only be 22 years old, but with the back injury, you're looking at 27, 28 years old when it comes to playing life already. Yes, he has Dorian Singer. Shout out, Andy just wrote an article about him, okay? You can go check it out in the League Winners. But I don't – what's more is in the room, Andy? Talk to me, because I don't know if there's enough in the room to put him in the realm. Like, Kuti's back, right?
They got Tayshawn Lyons, the freshman who didn't do anything
Washington,
at
right?
Washington. He's a speedster. They got Money Parks, who's more of a slot guy. They got a tight end,
Kuthi.
Brant Kuthi. He is supposedly healthy. He is going to be the tight end one. The kid that I really like, and I really like this kid. I think he's more for 2025, but he is a hybrid running back tight end. Carson Ryan from UCLA transfers in. He is originally from Utah, had a pretty good season at UCLA, comes into Utah, and man, if Kuthi gets hurt, and his history would suggest that he might
back, right? He's got a back injury.
Yeah, he's got a lot of things. Carson Ryan. That's all I'm gonna say. Carson Ryan, tight end, Utah.
Is there a chance that Brandon Rose pushes Cam Rising if he's not like back to the Cam Rising that we knew before the injury? Because everybody's gone, right? Everybody left.
See, I don't know what I can and cannot say, but
just give us the bare minimum.
It's more of Isaac Wilson pushing Rose than Rose pushing Rising.
Okay.
So
that's
read between the lines.
I know. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to get on there. I think Wilson's better than his brother.
So
I don't think he's ready for year one, though. Isaac Wilson, if he plays this year, Utah's toast.
Yeah.
They're toast.
That's why I said Rose, because I think Rose has a better overall game right now.
Yeah. But so, Lito, I agree, not top 10 because of those concerns there. But that's what I'm saying is if he's healthy right now, that's what we're seeing, right? That he'll be healthy for the season. If someone's low on him or concerned for CFF, I would go buy him right now because of the idea that he could go there. For CFF, I'm not necessarily saying that for your future prospects in the NFL, just for CFF purposes. If he comes back and has that healthy year, you struck gold if you're able to buy low on him.
Not to knock your point. I think your point has validity to it if he's healthy. I don't trust that offense. But if I'm buying anybody that was hurt and now is supposedly healthy, give me Micah Bernard, okay? Because I wouldn't trust the quarterback with string cheese for a spine. So what are they going to normally do? They're probably going to run the ball 60-40 or maybe even 65-35 to make sure that guy's not getting pummeled. Give me Micah Bernard. I think he's going to have a big monster year.
What I can say is Micah Bernard is without a doubt the RB1, and we're talking like 70-30 ratio. He is going to be the guy this year at Utah.
And I didn't get any information
They're leaning
before.
on him. Yeah, they are leaning on him. So, you know, if you're going to buy anyone in Utah for CFF purposes, it's going to be Micah Bernard, and anyone for a deep stash, Carson Ryan. That's all I'm saying. Now, that was a great episode, guys. SC, where can people find your work?
So at the PPR, so on X, man, shout out to y'all guys. You know, I appreciate y'all having me on here every week. We do it, but my knowledge for Devi, you know, began last year, right? Going into and actually doing CGC leagues and stuff like that. So every time I'm with y'all, I grind. Personally, two of my favorite people in the space to follow, both of y'all. But at X, you know, on the PPR, so I worked with Fantasy Football Universe. I'm taking over their Devi content there to be in control of that. But that's, again, having this show with y'all broadens my knowledge on it. You can also find me every, week here doing it. The O every couple of weeks there with CFB Nation. That's exciting. Got my own show, the PPR show, just talking IDP, Devi, NFL, everything on there as well. So really going all over. And then, if you want to like wrestling, follow me again because I cover everything wrestling as well.
Nino, where can people find your work?
You might catch him in a luchadorian mask every once in a while on Twitter. So just
bro.
be prepared for that.
The H-Town Lucha, my guy. You know what it is.
You can find me, CFB Nation, Devi Degens, Couch Scouts, and over here, Future Phenoms. I dabble in a little bit of everything, whether it be writing, podcasting, Devi, college, media, a little bit of everything. So most of the time I'm with these gentlemen or I'm with, KT over at CFB Nation. So you want to check me out, hit me up on the X.
Follow Nino at __ Nino Brown __. Typically, I don't promote anything on here, but I do need to promote something. This weekend on the Debbie Royale YouTube, we are dropping a project that I'm currently doing with the Debbie Digest. My goal and passion has always been to bring the player to light. And what I am doing is interviewing high school prospects. We have a 4-star that we completed an interview with, class of 2025 quarterback Malik Washington. He is a 4-star in the composites. He has narrowed down his decision to Penn State and Virginia Tech. That interview will drop this weekend on the Debbie Royal YouTube channel for free. You are free to watch that. And if you do like that content, go ahead and head over to the Patreon to subscribe and get that where my exclusive Debbie Digest content can be found. Now, we'll be back next week. But before we go, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, comment, subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, give us a rate and review. And we'll see you next time on Future
Also,
Phenoms.
follow Debbie Digest on X. You gotta plug that in.
Facts. And on the YouTube.
On the YouTube, there you go.